Yes, good morning, and thank you for covering our segment on sharing our data for FY 2025. As promised, we were going to come back every end of the fiscal year or beginning of the next fiscal year to kind of share with the community what data looks like and the impacts that it has with our families out there. So, under DYS, we have the Child Protective Services, which is a unit that responds to allegations or reports of child abuse and neglect. Um, Very unfortunate that this year or for FY 2025, our numbers have skyrocketed. And it has been doing so for the past several years. And we can dissect the data as we go. But we're here to share that information. Other than CPS, we do have juvenile probation and our big prevention unit, which is the Family and Youth Enhancement Program. We operate out of 2 community centers here, and we also have our our offices in Rota and Tinian, and oversee the Sinapalo Youth Center in Rota. So we're here this morning to kind of share our data for the Child Protective Services in terms of our child abuse and neglect cases, number of victims, and ongoing concerns that really is going to come out as a result of these data and what we just need to kind of watch out for, plan out. In everything that we do, we also try to squeeze in the prevention component. But unfortunately, our numbers are still skyrocketing. And like I've said in the past, we may also want to view that as having a really big presence out in the community where the community is actually getting really comfortable reporting. So that may be a contributing factor, but I'll hand it over to Mariah to kind of lay out the data for FY 2025, and also she has data that we've already began collecting for the new fiscal year.
Yes, so good morning, everyone. So for fiscal year 2024, we saw a total of 535 cases involving 1,489 children. And so that was 509 on Saipan, 9 on Tinian, and 17 on Rota. And then for the last fiscal year, we saw 816 cases involving 2,210 children. So we saw 776 cases on Saipan, 13 on Tinian, and 27 on Rota, involving 2,114 children on Saipan, 28 on Tinian, and 68 on Rota. And out of all those cases, 735 of that was substantiated, meaning that there was enough evidence to state that the abuse did happen to the child. 69 of that was unsubstantiated, meaning we received the report, we did our investigation, and the abuse never happened. And 12 of that we were unable to substantiate, and that could be cases maybe like involving like babies or involving children that can't really talk. Situations or cases like that. So to break the cases down even further, for domestic violence alone, we received 94 reports on Saipan and 5 on Rota, to include 99 total domestic violence cases. Educational neglect, we saw 100 on Saipan, 4 on Rota, so 104 total. And then for emotional neglect, which is tied into a lot of the other neglect allegations, we saw a total of 262, 251 on Saipan, 6 on Tinian, and 5 on Rota. And then medical neglect, we saw 23 total on Saipan. We saw none for Rota and Tinian. And physical neglect, we saw 148 on Saipan and 4 on Rota, so a total of 152. Physical abuse, we saw 147 cases on Saipan, 6 on Tinian, and 2 on Rota, so 155 total. And then for sexual abuse, we saw 114 on Saipan and 2 on Rota for 116 cases. And all these abuses also tie into emotional abuse too. So our numbers are kind of high for that one. 476 emotional abuse cases is what we worked with. In addition to all these child abuse and neglect allegations, we also saw a lot of others, like bullying cases. So we dealt with 5 of that. Child endangerment, we dealt with 1 on Saipan. 2 cases of child pornography. 3 cases of digital exploitation. We saw 8 cases of grooming. 3 of indecent exposure. 3 of minors consuming alcohol. 3 of sexual assault. So that sexual assault is like when it happens from a classmate or maybe a sibling. So not necessarily sexual abuse. That's the difference. And then we saw 1 for sexual harassment, 1 for sex trafficking, 2 for substance use, and then a lot of support services that we do. So we have 7 cases we worked on with alcohol abuse, 1 with anger management, 6 with assault, 3 with behavioral concerns, 6 with beyond control. We also dealt with 8 custody cases, 8 on Saipan and 1 on Rota, so total 9. We also had cases with drug concerns in the home, mainly methamphetamine. So total of 84 cases, 1 on Rota and 83 on Saipan. We had 11 cases of homelessness, 1 case where a mom tested positive for meth during pregnancy, and then we had 3 where the mom tested positive for meth at birth. And then last fiscal year, we also had 12 newborns test positive for meth at birth. We dealt with 25 runaway cases. We worked closely with PSS SARC team, so we dealt with about 46 cases. We also dealt with 10 cases of self-harm, and then 181 includes our services. So that's like support services, helping them with Medicaid, helping them with daycare, stuff like that. We had 2 cases of suicide attempt, 8 cases of suicide ideation, and then for the first time last fiscal year, we started counting teen dating violence, and we've strengthened our collaboration with the schools as well, and we received 5 reports of teen dating violence. We received 20 total of teen pregnancy cases, 23 truancy cases, and then the rest were just like wellness check for 148. And we also saw 1 for voyeurism too last year. And we also broke it down to ethnicity also. So we saw a total of, these are by cases, so a total of 227 cases involving Chamorros. So the Chamorros are our victims. And then we had both Filipino and Carolinian come in at 68 cases, followed by Chukis at 58. And then after that, it goes to Pohnpeian. We've also served Bangladeshi community, Chinese, Korean. Palawan was at 33, 8 cases with Yapis. Caucasian, German, Russian, because Ryan also we dealt with. And we're only 15 days into the new fiscal year. And so as of October 12th, we've already received 17 total reports involving 61 children so far. And we're only on that's only the first 12 days of October. We had 3 reports for domestic violence, 3 reports for physical neglect, 3 reports for sexual abuse in the first 12 days of this fiscal year. We already had 4 reports of physical abuse. And one thing that we're also seeing an increase in is grooming in our community. So we received 1 of that. And we're still receiving reports for drug concerns in the home. So far, we've had 4 new cases come in.